a 3-weight world champion. Yeah, this is my goal. Yeah, you're not gonna see me in the welterweight division like this, skinny. You're gonna see me different. Yeah, that's the goal. Move up to the lightweight division, get that belt, and then move up to the welterweight. What the UFC wants me to do. If they call me and they want me to move up to the lightweight division, I will be okay with that, to move up and be the first one to submit Islam.
All the competitive fights, they lose. All of them.
Con el que le digan y con él porque es pequeño, luego cambio de categoría y digo, bueno, soy pequeño, ahora estoy en categoría, luego que no he ganado lo suficiente. Bueno, son síntomas de miedo.
And myself, that's never going to happen. I'm the champion, and if you want to fight for the title again, it has to be in Madrid instead of fighting in Australia in front of you people. Why I would give you that advantage?
Now is our plan. Fly all the way to Australia and fight in pound-for-pound king backyard with Volkanovski. Let's do it. We know we're going to finish this guy. Let's go. I'm ready.
I want the division to run a little bit more, to someone come up and deserve his title shot. So, we'll see.
Alhamdulillah. I know you got this. They don't like this. Alhamdulillah. Tomorrow night, I'm going to smash your boy, guys.
First of all, I gotta say I'm a big fan of Ilia. His skill set, his mindset, his charisma, and this aura he has about him. All of these are ingredients to make a real legit superstar, and I also give him an extra point for representing us all short kings very well. It's truly inspiring to see him do what he does and have the charisma and confidence he has in this vicious, unforgiving sport. That being said, whether his delusional statements and stances that I'm gonna criticize today stem from actual opinions he holds or just for publicity and hype, I will deal with what's apparent and judge him by his words and respond to him in kind. So watch the video until the end and tell me what you guys think about all of this in the comments down below.
¿Te estás preparando para Islam Makhachev?
Yo me estoy preparando para Islam Makhachev. Todos mis entrenamientos realmente están enfocados para Islam o para Charles, porque no veo ningún otro contrincante. Así que tengo esos dos nombres en mente. Ninguno de los dos parece atreverse. Luego tienen como frases que hacen suyas de que un campeón pelea con el que le digan y con él porque es pequeño, luego cambio de categoría y digo, bueno, soy pequeño, ahora estoy en categoría, luego que no he ganado lo suficiente. Bueno, son síntomas de miedo.
It's funny hearing Topuria claim Islam is ducking him while Islam is fighting every fight the UFC offers him in his own division and taking lots of short notice replacements, while Topuria went up only after one title defense, leaving legit dangerous deserving contenders in his own division. He has probably seen something in Islam's game that he thought he could exploit and just thought to himself, I can go up, win the second belt and just retire with a legendary status of a double champ and not have to fight these beasts in his division like Movsar and Lopez, or maybe a rematch versus Volk and risk losing the belt, because Volk deserved an immediate rematch after dominating that division for so long. Yet here we go, contenders left to fight for the belt with no champion to defend, and now he can always say he vacated the belt and that he's the best featherweight without having to actually defend the belt and prove it. I'm saying this because he already publicly stated that he intends to retire early at 30 years old. Topuria also publicly ducked both Arman and Charles and is adamant on wanting to get an immediate shot at the 155 title, despite the little work he has done in his own division. Usually champions who are awarded an immediate title shot at the division above cleared out their division or did a lot of work in it.
Incredible, both guys. I mean, for Moicano to step up and accept this fight on short notice, and obviously, you know, for the champ. I told you, I said it publicly. He said, "Brother, I am the champion. I'm going to bed. Whoever I'm fighting tomorrow, I don't care. I'll wake up and I'll fight anybody." So, came out and did what you're supposed to do in that position, and actually, like a stud.
Islam fought Volk twice. The first time he called out for the fight to be in Australia, in Volk's backyard.
Now is our plan. Fly all the way to Australia and fight in pound-for-pound king backyard with Volkanovski. Let's do it. We know we're going to finish this guy. Let's go. I'm ready.
Let's do it. Hey, the lightweight on the line, pound for pound, number one on the line. Let's do it.
Meanwhile, this is what Ilia said when he was asked about going to Australia and fighting Volk there.
Yeah, and I spoke to Volk last night, and he said in his perfect world, you would win this fight and fight him in Australia at UFC 312. But he said he, wasn't so sure you would do that, so he wants Max to win because he thinks he would be more willing to fight in Australia. What do you think of that?
Listen, if that makes him feel happy, that thinking that maybe I would go to Australia, that's okay. But in myself, that's never going to happen. I'm the champion, and if you want to fight for the title again, it has to be in Madrid instead of fighting in Australia in front of you people. Why I would give you that advantage?
Now check out the difference between this and what Islam does and his mindset.
This fight is like a home fight for Arman. It's like it's in Armenia. Why did you accept this in LA?
Because LA have mostly Armenian people. It's okay because I am fighting in Australia when all crowds support my opponent. I fight in Dagestan in the US when everybody support him. But when cage is closed, nobody can help. You and your opponent, that's it.
The fight between Islam and Volk was then marketed as pound for pound number 1 versus pound for pound number 2 for the lightweight belt versus the pound for pound number 1 spot. Islam then fought dehydrated because of the rules of the city in which the fight took place, rules that coincidentally served Volk where they had way less time to recover from the weight cut, a time which Islam needed more than Volk since Volk is going up a weight class and didn't cut as much weight. And then after the close fight in which both fighters did great and in which Islam risked his lightweight belt, fans called the decision a robbery and Islam wasn't made pound for pound number 1. So he basically fought a hard, great fight, risked everything and won nothing in the end. Then comes the rematch, which was on short notice, and Volk stepping in to replace Charles Oliveira. Islam KO'd Volk in the first round, but what do haters say after that? Islam only had title defenses against featherweights to try and diminish everything he did. So these same fans come in now and wanna pressure Islam to take the fight against Ilia or else he is ducking him. This chance is something you cannot take seriously if you are aware of all of this. The only person who deserves to be accused of ducking in this scenario is Ilia. He ducked legit contenders in his division and now he is ducking all contenders in 155 and refuses to fight Charles or Arman for the number 1 contender spot. Islam did a lot of work in his division and he deserves a shot at the second belt after giving one twice to the champ in the division below. Speaking of ducking, listen to what Ilia said a month ago about staying in 145 and giving a chance to contenders there or giving Volk a rematch.
Why?
I don't know, I feel that it's a new challenge in my life. It's something that excites me a lot instead of staying in 145 and I don't know, fight with the same guys or upcoming guys. I want the division to run a little bit more, to someone come up and deserve his title shot. So we'll see.
There are already contenders who are deserving of title shots, like Movsar, who is 19-0, 9-0 in the UFC, and Lopez, who is fighting Volk for the title now after Ilia vacated it, and many other up-and-comers. And then there is Volk, who deserves a rematch after dominating the division for so long. Islam, on the other hand, took any challenge he was offered, including many on short notice after opponents pull out, even when he's champion and could easily say no like many do. Islam doesn't duck anyone, and he's right in not taking Ilia right away until Ilia proves himself at 155. Then haters will have less to say about him fighting only 145ers. He is the champ and he has a legit reason not to take the fight against someone coming up from the division below, and anyone who says he is ducking Ilia and ignores all of this context and history with Volk is just biased and not worthy of being taken seriously. Here, let me correct this for you. This is what happens when Merab's cardio and showboating meets Omar's MMA. Omar's wrestling is great, but his base is striking, Muay Thai to be exact, and skill to skill, Omar is better. And he also did more damage to Merab with a broken hand. Now, a broken hand is no excuse if it happens during the fight, it's just part of the game. But it also means that he wasn't 100% after his hand broke, and he still had a very close fight that many argue he won. As for Merab, he is just a machine, and has a crazy body of work even before becoming champion, and he deserves to be the champ. And this whole Dagestan versus Georgia thing is just too annoying. They're both legendary fighting nations with lots of great athletes in all sports, and they share a lot of similarities being both from the Caucasus region. But the most annoying thing about this beef is how Ilia alongside some of their fans just wanna ride the wave of the Dagestani fighters and try to steal their shine instead of just giving their own legacy some time to be built up because they are doing great so far. It's super annoying seeing those same comments under every video related to the Dagestanis. Every group that is a well-respected group of fighters had its time and built their own legacy. The Brazilians, for example, had so many great champions and their fighters have always been a staple in the sport. As for individual fighters like Merab and Ilia, they 100% deserve recognition for their amazing accomplishments so far. But as a group, Dagestanis as a whole objectively did more and for longer. The depth of the talent pool and fighters they have in the UFC is just more. And even when just focusing on champions, both countries countries have similar population size. There have been 3 Dagestani champions, 2 of them with GOAT status in their own division, and breaking a lot of records. Without going into details, you already know what Islam and Khabib did, so you get my point. Now Georgia kicked the door open, and in a short time span they had 2 champions, which is incredible. But Merab has only 1 title defense so far, and Ilia refused to defend his title more than once and said he no longer has motivation to do so and vacated the belt. And going back to a Umar versus Merab fight, the fight was closer than people make it seem to be. But again, as I said previously, when a Dagestani, especially from Khabib's camp, win a close fight, it's a robbery. And when they lose a close one, it's a domination and a humiliating loss. And this also brings me to the most ridiculous statement Ilia has ever said. And because the claim is so ridiculous, it will not take me long to debunk. None of them have like a special cardio and a special stamina, you know what I mean? The way they do it, it's like if you see any of them fighting, the thing they need when they go inside the octagon in the first contact, they want to feel that they dominate you, and they start building up their confidence since then. Like, I can dominate you, maybe you escape, we go to striking again, but I felt that I'm stronger than you. But if they feel on the first contact, in the first round, that they can't control you, that it's very competitive, their head goes down. This is what they try to do. To beat you in the earlier round, to feel that they can dominate you, that they are stronger than you. This is what they try to do all the time. But when they realize that it's not like that, most of the time they lose that kind of fights. All the competitive fights, they lose. All of them. Or you see them dominating everything, like take people down, dominate them on the ground. Or if you see a competitive fight, they lose. It doesn't take looking too far into the past to easily debunk this ridiculous claim. Islam versus Volk fight, Islam versus Dustin Poirier fight, Umar versus Sandhagen, and the list goes on. All these fights were super competitive, but they stayed in them until the end. Even at the Volk fight, despite the horrible condition Islam was in, he still fought like a warrior to the end and won. And in the Dustin Poirier fight, he fought toe to toe with him standing up, and then later in the fight he just pulled out one of the most badass moves that nobody seen coming, and won in spectacular fashion despite not being able to dominate as he used to, and not being able to establish his usual game plan. I think Ilia has the same delusional perspective that lots of haters have, which I alluded to many times. If they see a Dagestani get a close win, they consider it a loss, which is just narrow-sighted and dumb. Now, it could also be the case that this claim is true for most regular fighters. When their game plan isn't working, their confidence starts to decline throughout the fight. And this isn't unique to Dagestani fighters, and to be more fair, it could be the case that Dagestanis have been hailed so much, more so for great fighters like Khabib and Islam and their camp, and other elite fighters like Zabit and Kalayev and so forth, that it becomes such a huge burden for them to overperform because of the big expectations. This could be the case, but I gotta remind you guys of something. When MMA analysts, journalists and pundits talk about Dagestanis and their dominance, they usually mean those coming out of Abdul Manap's school and a few others. And as I showed earlier with proof that this claim is absolutely false and ridiculous. Now lastly, I'm a fan of Topuria. I love his aura, charisma and skill set, but come on, the guy goes on and changes his nickname to The Legend after one title defense and says he is no longer motivated to defend his belt at 145. He's young, he could be doing more rather than just try to ride the wave of another champ who did the work in his own division. So thanks for watching guys. If you like this video, please like, subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, peace.